along the liver parenchyma, and this shows a grave prognosis because not only the abscess is not confined to just one place, it has spread to all over the liver, and that gives a patient a bad prognosis. So in these cases, a higher dose of antibiotics and other measures like nutritional upbuild and supportive treatments are also instituted. Now the important aspect: how do we drain a fluid, a pus from that space, liver abscess? For single abscess with the smaller diameters, like 5 centimeters is the cutoff. Less than 5, yani 2 inch, less than 5 centimeter. Usually, they are supposed to be having a better prognosis, and percutaneous drainage or needle aspiration is more acceptable. Rather, in many cases, we don't even drain it. Lesser abscesses like 1 inch or 2.5 to 3 centimeter abscesses, we leave it and we just build the patient's immunity and start antibiotics. So less small abscesses, very small abscesses are resolved on their own. If they are more than 5 centimeter, percutaneous drainage is the method of choice. Some favor surgical interventions, or when the patient has been opened for other reasons or the abscess has been ruptured into the peritoneal cavity. In such cases, obviously, the open surgical method is there, but usually the abscess which is larger than 5 centimeter, it is localized to one single abscess, then percutaneous, and it is not multilocular. This is again one thing where percutaneous catheter drainage is failed because of the either it has got multiple septi or it is very thick. Then in such cases again you have to do some sort of surgical procedure. Usually the success of catheter drainage is 70 to 90%. Here you can see this is a catheter going into the abscess cavity, two views here and here, and you can see usually this catheter has a curled tip so that they retain inside the abscess cavity. Had there been a straight catheter, the chances of coming out and dislodge are much more. So usually they have a curly tail. Guide wire is passed before passing it, so they get straight, and when it is placed in that in the abscess cavity, the guide wire is removed, and the natural curl of the tip comes into place, and then it tend to retain inside the cavity. As with any other procedure, the percutaneous drainage also has potential complications, although much less, but potentially we have to be mindful of the complication we may come across. First of all, the greatest fear is that while placing the catheter in the liver, in the abscess cavity, you may inadvertently damage the adjoining organs. If you enter into the thoracic space, patient can develop pneumothorax. Bleeding is one again a problem, as patient is already in a compromised physical health. He has got issues, so bleeding can occur, and leakage of pus into the abdominal cavity, producing localized or generalized peritonitis. This is also one of the complications, although rare, but potential is always there. So, as in contrast to catheter placement, which is a minimal invasive thing, we when it fails, we have to eventually come to surgical treatment. When, of course, because of various reasons, the catheter drainage is not successful, we have to resort to surgical therapy. As we have discussed, what are the indications like coexisting intra-abdominal disease as required operative treatment, which I have already mentioned. When we cannot place a percutaneous catheter, and there are multiple abscesses are thick, ascites is there. So in such cases, obviously the last resort is a surgical treatment. Various routes: transthoracic, extraperitoneal, transperitoneal. Usually we prefer transperitoneal as intra-abdominal pathology can be dealt with. We have both options, laparoscopy as well as open, depending upon how well you are, how good you have the backup system. You can resort to laparoscopy, and open is always the classical method by laparotomy. Here you can see a laparoscopic view, and you can see a wall of the abscess cavity has just been removed, and a pus you can see here in this removed wall, through a window of that removed wall. You can see a pussy substance in the peritoneal, in the abscess wall, in the liver abscess wall. So this is how you view a patient by a laparoscopy, by a laparoscope. How long we have to treat such patients? It really depends on on many factors. How well the patient recovers, how quickly the abscess is drained, and there is no refilling. And we can monitor such patients in the wards with white cell count, a regular white cell count, regular C-reactive protein levels, which shows us how well the inflammation is being subsiding. We have to put obviously the catheter should be remain in place for a longer time and see how the drainage is diminishing, and patient should be treated depending on average 2 to 4 weeks, and we have to how well the patient is recovering, patient's fever, patient white cell, how it is decreasing, and patient's weight is gaining, well-being of patient feeling good. So all these parameters, his as obviously serum albumin, all these parameters shows you how long you have to treat the patient. Obviously, complications of the procedure: rupture abscess to adjacent organs and cavities, they can enter. Pleuropulmonary complications like effusion, we have already discussed that. Empyema, obviously, if pleuritis takes place and eventually infection sets in the pleural fluid, the empyema sets in. Bronchohepatic fistula is sometimes, very rarely it happens, when the communication between the ruptured liver abscess to the pleural cavity and eventually in the bronchus takes place. Is rare, very rare, but a potential is there. Intra-abdominal complication includes subphrenic abscesses, common, yes. Rupture into the peritoneal cavity leading to peritonitis, obviously it is a potential complication, or rupture into any intra-abdominal organ is also a potential complication that can occur, although rarely, but can occur. Prognosis, it again, I can't say this 10 to 20%. It really depends on patient's physical state, patient's comorbids, and how great the infection or the abscess is, how many. It really depends on the patient's initial state of health. If untreated, it is bad, obviously bad. I obviously have told you underlying comorbidities really shows you how good or bad the prognosis will be. The advanced age, more than 70 years, if there are multiple, if the infection is polymicrobial and that is resistant to the antibiotics,